Today I want to talk about yes theory and Will Smith and how it's changing my life. So I did a video on this quite a while ago when Will Smith first announced that he would accept Yes Theory's bet. If you're not familiar, Yes Theory is a YouTube channel with millions of subscribers. They do dares and challenges and they travel the world. And they challenged Will Smith to bungee jump off a helicopter, and Will Smith actually responded. And not only did he respond, but he upped the ante and challenged them to do it over the Grand Canyon. So this really sparked a fire under me because they got a really big, probably one of the top A-list celebrities to respond and collaborate with them. And it really sparked a fire under me because Will Smith was doing a lot of social media stuff and really revealing much more than he ever had about his life and his success secrets and tips on how to succeed in life. And it really just, catapulted a fire in me. I didn't really understand why completely, but just his passion, his way of living, his success, and his work ethic, it really sparked ideas that I respected and admired about him on how you can achieve what you wanted in life if you're willing to do what's necessary and how to look at life. Now, when they combined Yes Theory and Will Smith, it really sparked an even deeper fire because if these people who started from nothing could get to a level where they have these subscribers and this lifestyle, and they got Will Smith involved, then maybe you and I can do something similar one day. So this is something that I'm already familiar with, being so immersed in the self-help movement and already seen so many amazing stories of inspiration that you just start to think, it's possible. And so I thought I was already a believer, but there's definitely still some doubt in there that this event has unearthed in me. Now, why am I making another video about this? Well, it's because Yes Theory has released another video kind of revealing more about their whole experience with Will Smith. But more so than that, I started digging deeper into their channel and I discovered exactly what they're about. I watched their origin stories video and discovered that they were just a group of 4 individuals, strangers, that got together and wanted to push their comfort zone. So they started saying yes to uncomfortable things, and that is the principle behind how they managed to create this YouTube channel that got tons of media coverage. I mean, they were written up in hundreds of articles from the top media publications. They've been on tons of interviews with every news media publication you can name on live television, and they've grown this massive audience of millions of subscribers, all off the back of filming about 200 videos of different challenges they've done pushing the comfort zone. And it's really inspiring. Like, their whole story is that you can do the same by just pushing your comfort zone. And ultimately what this video is about is how you and I can do things our own way, how I'm going to do things my own way based off the inspiration behind Yes Theory. What this means, I'm going to break it down for you, is that I want to do things in a way that's different from Yes Theory, but based off my own principles. Not for the sake of being different, but because I'm interested in stuff that Yes Theory isn't. This is something that I think is really important for you because most people, myself included, get caught up in this idea of I gotta tick off things off my bucket list because other people have it on their bucket list, even though it's not interesting to you. And I've been trying to, identify what really matters to me on my bucket list, and I realized that bucketlist.org, not a good place to start. Similar to kind of deciding what to choose based off what Yes Theory is doing. If you go to bucketlist.org, there's just like tens of thousands of random items on there that are popular that other people have chosen. And I just ended up really tempted. You might be the same way, by all these random miscellaneous stuff that, when I take a step back and think about it, it really doesn't matter that much if I get it done or not by the time I die. It's just too tempting of a place. There's random stuff like, oh, travel to Iceland. Oh, visit a ice castle there. Oh, swim with dolphins. Get on a cruise. These random stuff, and there's thousands of them out there, you just can't help but put on your list. So instead, I got off that site and just, started with a blank sheet of paper and really just thought, like, what really matters to me when I get off. And another tip for you is think of what you really don't care about on your bucket list. What is a nice to have but not need to have? And for me, a nice to have but not a need to have would be, all those things I mentioned before, but a lot of things that the Yes Theory crew is doing. Like, it's awesome to them that they're doing it, but for me it'd be more of a hassle than anything really awesome. And this really takes some peeling the layers of an onion to identify. Because on the surface you might be like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to go to Iceland. But in reality it's like, no, I really don't care when you're honest with yourself and no one else is watching. So for example, Yes Theory, like most of the stuff they do, I don't care that much about. It's awesome that they do, but not something I'm interested in. For example, take the idea of what they're doing, the challenges they do. They do a lot of these random kind of daredevil challenges where they're skydiving or they're bungee jumping, or they'll do something where it's like take a blind date on the most crazy adventure they can on as little budget as you can, or do a blind date on Tinder in a new city, or they'll do random like fun stuff like throw a party for $0, or crash the Oscars, or see if you can survive for 24 hours in a foreign city by asking for others to pay for your stuff. And these things, obviously, they're outside of your comfort zone, and they're, as Will Smith says, the best things in life are beyond, on the opposite side of fear, your most tremendous fear. However, I think that just because it's dangerous or scary doesn't always mean it correlates with the most reward behind it. Some things, the thrill isn't really that much worth it. For example, roller coasters were a tremendous fear for me for a very long time, and I really took tremendous strides to go on a few roller coasters to get over that fear, or at least conquer it once and show that I can do that. And I was able to do this a few times, but the problem was that, like, looking back, it's like, you know what, I did it. It wasn't enjoyable afterwards or during. And what do I gain from all this? Like, to tell others that I was able to achieve this? Yes, that's cool, but, am I going to do that for everything that endangers my life and I'm fearful of? The reward is not worth the gain. Just, to conquer my fear over and over again and have all this displeasure. So that's one of the things that I code as a principle, or at least a theory. So it's going to guide how I my bucket list. So there's a bunch of things like skydiving, bungee jumping, rock climbing, all these things that Yes Theory and other people are doing that I really am not going to put on my bucket list or my goals, and that's perfectly fine in my opinion. So think about that for you. What matters or not for you? And it's not just, a matter of numbers. It's something that can really end your life, and that's probably the last thing you want. You want to live as long as you can to enjoy life as much as you can. And unfortunately, a lot of travel bloggers have died in their quest to do this stuff. As I record this, just a few weeks ago, 3 of the members of High on Life, another big travel YouTube channel, have died. They died falling off a 100-foot waterfall in the British Columbia. So that's really unfortunate, and that's a risk you always take with, doing dangerous things that actually threaten your life. And a few years ago, Scott Dinsmore of Live Your Legend, another travel blogger, TED talker, and online entrepreneur, he died doing some risky boulder rock climbing, living his life. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't live your legend, as Scott Dinsmore says, but I'm saying that it doesn't always have to be the most dangerous, crazy thing out there. A lot of travel bloggers point to the statistics, and they point to the fact that media overhypes the danger of certain places to get more media coverage and attention. And that's definitely true, and that's why I will still travel more and do more things that people perceive to be more dangerous but are mathematically not. But that doesn't always mean that I'm going to do all these crazy things that are a thrill for others. I really don't get much enjoyment for a thrill. So what am I going to actually look to do? Outside of, I'm not going to do these crazy stunts, but I found that I really have a lot of interest in doing a lot of fun stuff with celebrities. What I mean by that is Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and James Corden, talk show hosts, are probably like one of the big things that it really fires me up. Like, they get to play like board games and wacky games with really successful people. And for me, I don't even care if they're celebrities or famous or not. What I care about these are people who are really at the top of their game, at the top of their craft, at a certain area, or just really impacting the world and making tremendous progress. They don't have to be like world class at a sport specifically, but these successful people are something that I really enjoy doing. And there you go. This is something that I don't really have much, life risk behind. Like playing a board game or something, or interviewing a world class person isn't putting my life in danger, yet it's hard to do, and it really lightens me up because I get to learn so much to improve my own life from these people, and I get to have the time of my life with someone who's very hard to get access to, and it's just like the best of both worlds. So when I really was brutally honest with myself, that's the number one thing that popped to my mind when I asked myself what I wanted to do when I died. And that's one of the things that, kind of converges when I think about, well, what has Yes Theory done that I haven't, that I really admire, with them coming from nothing? And it is this activity. They've done it with Will Smith. Other YouTube channels have done it with other successful people. And I think this is something that in this day and age, outside of any, it's more possible than ever. And Yes Theory has really proven that it's possible. And it's not just Yes Theory. There's other big YouTube channels and groups that have done a similar thing. There's a guest poster on Tim Ferriss's website a few years ago, and they're very similar to Yes Theory, but they're more blog based than YouTube based. And their post was titled something like how we managed to play basketball with Obama and travel the world and do all this crazy stuff. And I read that article and I learned more about their website and their whole all the achievements they've accomplished, and that just really opened my eyes. They gave a lot of great tips on how they were able to do that, and one of them was just putting it out there into the world, because one of their principles is that everyone knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And the whole idea is that if you just let the whole world, everyone know that you're looking to meet Obama or meet Will Smith, then eventually you're going to know somebody that knows Obama or Will Smith or Justin Bieber, whoever you want to get in touch with, and that will get you the connection. At first I was like, well, isn't that against the other principle that a lot of successful people like Gary Vaynerchuk talk about how, you know, you have to give value first. You can't just ask for stuff and be a freeloader, because no one's going to want your help in return. But I think they do have a lot of value. Yes Theory has this value of this massive following and attention and reach, and I think even when they started, people got around them based off this whole crazy idea they had. They were excited and they respected that idea that you can, from the bottom with nothing, achieve your dreams. And because of that idea, they were so inspired by it that they just had to go out there and help these guys. So that's one way out of the many you can leverage what you have to achieve your goals. Another is just straight up hard work. Outwork other people. Do what you need to do to get that value. You know, Yes Theory isn't perfect. I think they're still kind of learning and trying to figure out how they're going when they live their lives. Many of them are pretty young, and I think they have a completely different attitude and personality than I would take to the whole thing. They seem very outgoing. They just straight up blow up and dance and run around the room each time they achieve something, whereas I'm kind of quiet and shy, and that's something I want to kind of change. The one thing I admire about them is that, like, they love living. I think whether you're extrovert or introvert, you should dance and run around and just cheer in excitement when you achieve something that amazing. And I just think that most people live in a mediocre state where they just never experience anything like that would cause them to run around in excitement. And I think at its core, that's what I respect, admire, and want and chase. That has fired me up. But between Yes Theory and Will Smith, they genuinely love life, and I want more of that. I want less mediocrity. So that's something I do admire. One thing I wish they could do better is I think they could be a bit more mature and polite with how they get about everything. I think one thing that they did was they stole Will Smith's YouTube play button to get a meeting with Will Smith before the whole bungee jumping event would take place, because they really wanted to meet them. And I thought that was a bit impolite to do. It was kind of like a bad taste in your mouth. It's like, I guess they were trying to be playful and funny and just, be cool with it. But, instead I thought that could definitely be taken the wrong way and, ruin a potential great thing that could come about. So that's something that I think they could work on. Also, they're a bit too naive with the whole thing. They're always going at it really hard, whether it's they want getting on a radio talk show or just trying to talk to strangers and get them to buy stuff. However, they're young. They'll learn through life mistakes or whatever. I've learned a lot through my own experiences and emotional intelligence on how it's important to kind of choose your words, but not filter yourself too much when talking to people and communicating. Otherwise, they'll misinterpret messages, and you can end up the worse for it. Having said that, despite the things that are their shortcomings, there's stuff I can learn from them, and I definitely will. I don't know how yet, but they've definitely sparked a fire under me, and their whole advice is really ask yourself what makes you uncomfortable and what are you going to do about that. And that doesn't always mean that you're going to have to chase things that make you uncomfortable. Maybe I have no interest in bungee jumping or skydiving, so that puts a lot of discomfort on me. But even achieving that, it doesn't really change much of my life. I won't really regret it much when I die. But there are things that I really, really want to achieve, and I would regret and really stir a fire under me and cause me discomfort. Some of those things may not be as much discomfort as the sheer impossibility of achieving them, such as interviewing and playing, you know, board games with, or just doing wacky things with successful people in person. But other things like, you know, actually traveling to a different country and, you know, inviting an incredibly beautiful girl on a date, and getting that date, and doing it all on a super low budget or $0 a day, and having the best date of my life, and hacking that some way with $0 a day. That's like an incredible feat that causes me some discomfort and anxiety as to like how I'm going to do that, how I would have the courage to do that, or how that's even possible. And so for me, I'm more about like, okay, it doesn't have to be super wacky, and I don't have to do something crazy like, you know, do it on $0 per day. Like, I'm fine with just making the money to do that. But it gets me thinking. It gets me thinking about what really matters to me, what discomfort really hurts me or holds me back, and who knows where it will lead. Maybe it will ultimately lead to me doing crazy shenanigans like they do, where they I think one time they went to like Beverly Hills, and they went to every mansion and just offered free donuts, and they got declined every time until they got one house that actually wanted to talk. And their whole goal was just to meet a really rich person and find out their story, and they did. It was like basically a rich guy's son opened up, and the son would inherit that guy's business. But it was cool to see them be able to do this stuff. I think the whole prank channel thing with Simple Pickup and other YouTube channels, they've done these things as well, but it was more so, as always, kind of focused on what can be the most wacky thing they can do. Dress up as Mario or the Statue of Liberty and get a girl's number, even though you have to say a bunch of really crazy, obnoxious, off the wall stuff that would offend most people. That type of wacky prank stuff, where it is very discomforting, it's fun, but you know, ultimately, like, that's really not where I'm headed. I just want to like achieve my dreams, and push past fear, so I'm not a slave to fear, and achieve what I want in life. So who knows where this might take me, but this is my announcement in this video that I'm doing something about it, that I'm starting to think about this, and I don't know where it'll lead. Maybe it will lead to just me doing crazy, wacky things and filming them on my YouTube channel to show you guys I blow past discomfort, just like these other guys. Or it may take me in a completely new direction, where I focus more on just practical stuff that isn't, you know, Daredevil-esque. It's just focused on me pushing past discomfort and somehow trying to achieve some crazy, near impossible dream. Or maybe it'll be a mix of these. I don't know for sure. But I'm thinking about this, and I hope you'll think about this too, and you'll, you know, maybe even film it like I do, and maybe if you don't, at least try something else and live a life that you won't regret, and see where it leads. Maybe you will achieve what seems to be impossible, but it's really possible, just hard to do, and live an incredible life. A life you won't regret. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.